I'm lying on the hospital bed. The sunlight filters through the gap in the curtains. It shines on my face. It feels a bit glaring. My phone's battery is almost dead. The screen shows a low battery warning. My fingers tremble slightly. I sent help messages to 3 people. After sending the messages, I close my eyes, waiting for their replies. My husband replied, "I'm in a meeting. You should go to the hospital by yourself first." My son said, "I'm playing basketball with friends. It's nothing serious. Don't be too nervous." My daughter Essa ID Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. "I'm shopping. I don't have time right now. Mom, I want to buy a pair of shoes. Can you transfer me some money?" At that moment, my heart went completely cold. I decided to leave this home, to pursue the life I truly want. My name is Emily. She is an ordinary housewife. Every morning at dawn, the sunlight just streams through the curtains into the kitchen. I start to get busy. My husband loves to drink light porridge. My son loves fried eggs. My daughter prefers milk and bread. To make sure they all have their favorite breakfast, I always wake up early, putting in my best effort to prepare. Although they have gotten used to what I make, they even seem a bit indifferent. "Mom, I told you I don't like soy sauce on my eggs. The porridge this morning is too bland." My son frowned and pushed the bowl aside. He complained, "Mom, you forgot to add sugar again." My daughter quietly complained, clearly not satisfied with breakfast. "The kids are growing. I can only explain, I'm sorry, my dears. Maybe Mom didn't sleep well last night. This morning was too busy." My son frowned and interrupted me. "Never mind. If I forget, then I forget. Stop making excuses." After he finished speaking, he picked up his backpack. He stood up and got ready to leave. My daughter followed behind him. I suddenly remembered that it would get colder today. I quickly took the ironed coat off the hanger. I handed it to them. "It's blowing a north wind today. The weather is particularly cold." My son and daughter exchanged a glance. Their eyes were full of impatience from my nagging. He replied, "Got it, got it." As soon as he finished speaking, the door slammed shut with a bang. After that loud noise, my ears suddenly started buzzing. Then I felt a wave of dizziness. The scene in front of me was sometimes clear, sometimes blurry. It felt like all my senses were being covered. Only the blood vessels in my temples are throbbing. That makes me realize I am still alive. Someone asked me, "What's wrong with you?" My husband just finished washing up. He was wearing a neatly pressed suit. He asked with a puzzled expression, "Did you not sleep well last night in this house?" Only my husband occasionally says to me, "You've worked hard." But when he says that, there's always a sense of entitlement in his tone. At that moment, he was just like usual. He simply asked, and then pulled out a chair to sit down and have breakfast. "I'm feeling very unwell. I can't even move. I can only endure it." But soon, my husband finished his breakfast. He picked up his briefcase. He walked around me and left. The door clicked shut behind him. My tears couldn't help but flow down. Why does everyone treat me this way? I can't help but feel wronged, but I still comforted myself. "Emily, don't be sad. The children have grown up now. They all have their own ideas. It's normal for teenagers to be like this. Having a bit of personality is completely normal. It's okay. They still love you. You don't have a job if your husband doesn't go to work either. How are we going to get by?" I comforted myself in monologue. These words were like painkillers. I kept telling myself, hard times will eventually pass. The current situation is just temporary in this family. I never complain about anything. I give everything for this family, without any complaints. Even when I'm so tired I can't stand straight, I never regret it. But I don't know if it's because heaven can't bear to see it, or if I'm really too tired. Physical discomfort gradually started to appear. At first, I only felt occasional dizziness and fatigue. I thought this was just due to getting older. My physical strength isn't what it used to be in the morning. After I sent the 3 of us out the door, I went to the market alone to buy groceries. Mrs. Johnson, the vendors at the market all know me now. They greet me warmly when they see me. "Oh dear, your husband is really lucky. He gets to eat the dishes you make every day. Just by looking at the vegetables you bought, I can tell you change up your cooking every day." The vendor's wife is actually complimenting me indirectly. She says I'm skilled at cooking. I'm a virtuous woman. Usually, such words sound quite pleasant. But today, they made me feel a bit awkward. So I just smiled. "The white pomfret today doesn't seem very fresh. You have grouper. The price of grouper is higher than that of white pomfret." The vendor immediately recommended it enthusiastically. "Yes, we do. Mrs. Johnson, what do you think of this one? Are you satisfied?" I looked in the direction she was pointing. The once clear vision gradually became blurry. The boss lady kept promoting her products. The noise around me gradually faded away. My ears began to buzz. My head also started to feel uncomfortable. I loosened my grip. The thing I was holding fell to the ground. I had a severe headache. I could only support myself on the counter to avoid falling. The boss lady panicked upon seeing this. She hurriedly ran out from behind the counter. "Oh dear, Mrs. Johnson, what's wrong with you? Do you want me to call an ambulance for you?" More and more people gathered around. I felt a bit of difficulty breathing. I said, "It's nothing. I just need to rest for a bit. Everyone, please don't crowd around here." At this moment, I suddenly understood. The discomfort I felt earlier was not just due to fatigue, but because I was really sick. Days passed by. It seems like no one at home has noticed anything unusual about me. I can't find comfort and warmth in my heart. My condition is getting worse. But I am still holding on. I understand. If I'm not here in this family, everything will come to a standstill. But how can one resist the onslaught of illness? Until that day, my body finally couldn't hold on anymore. It sent out dangerous signals. Here's the situation. My son and daughter are attending the same school. The school is about to organize a study trip. This should be a joyful event. But my children and I had a conflict. "Mom, I want to wear this dress." My daughter insisted through her tears. "Mom, I told you before, I have a boy I like. This time, I must dress up beautifully to meet him." My daughter's voice was sharp and urgent. She wants to force me to agree by being unreasonable, but I think she's too loud. It's getting more and more annoying. My attitude is becoming impatient. If I say no, then it's no. You keep making a fuss. Then don't go study anymore. Just stay at home. My daughter knows that I always respond to the children's requests, so she continues to act cute. Isn't it okay? Isn't it okay? Mom, please just agree with me. I promise this is the last time. I will definitely listen and behave in the future. Maybe we're just talking too loudly. Or my son is going through puberty. He's particularly sensitive emotionally. He suddenly has a serious face, and he shouts loudly, "Liam, can you stop shouting? You crazy person. It's really too noisy." The siblings are of similar age. Usually they don't give in to each other over trivial matters. When the younger brother gets angry, the older sister gets angry too. "Sophia, what are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense." The sister grabbed a pillow from the bed and threw it at her brother. Watch him dodge it. Then she picked up a textbook and threw it at him. She kept moving her hands while continuously talking. "You're in a bad mood just because you lost the game. Right. With your skills, you still want to be a basketball player. Stop daydreaming." The brother initially thought about just enduring it, but the sister kept poking at his sore spots. He also started to fight back. I stood in the middle of them. All I could hear was their arguing. The noisy sounds kept irritating my fragile nerves. I don't know when it started. I began to break out in a cold sweat. The dizziness came back again, but the kids seemed completely oblivious to me. They were only focused on each other. Suddenly, a pretty heavy toy flew towards me with a bang. It hit me on the head, and then I knew nothing. It was pitch black all around. I met my husband at work. We both work as doctors at the same hospital. Every workplace has that one leader who likes to meddle in their subordinates' personal issues. I've encountered such a person too, Emily. Let me tell you, this guy is really quite nice. He is good-looking, he's also tall. He works in the same field as you. There must be common topics to talk about. The director smiled and came over. It was as if he had some good news to share. Most importantly, he has a house and a car. If you marry him, you can comfortably be a housewife. How respectable. This is truly a good thing. At first, I could still chat casually. I could change the subject. But later, I couldn't avoid it anymore. I had no choice but to grit my teeth and meet him once. At that time, he was always very gentle. Always very gentle. When she smiles, her eyes curve like this, like a crescent moon, and she always thinks of me thoughtfully. I always felt that I would eventually get married. Meeting him was quite a stroke of luck, so we got married after dating for 2 years. After marriage, we had a son and a daughter. I quit my job and focused on raising the children at home. Time has been quietly changing us. I just chose not to pay attention to these changes. The beeping of the monitor woke me from my sleep. Not long after, a nurse came over to check on my condition. "Can you hear me talking?" she asked me. "Please move your finger." I checked each item carefully. When the surroundings finally quieted down, I realized, from start to finish, I was the only one here. The other patients in the room saw this and curiously asked, "Where did your family go?" No one is taking care of you with such a serious illness. Are you here working from out of town? I was still wearing an oxygen mask. I heard the person next to me ask that. I didn't know what to say. I could only shake my head gently. Everyone noticed that I was in a bad mood, so they changed the subject. Don't worry. Your illness is just due to exhaustion. Didn't the doctor say so? Rest well after you get home. You will recover soon. I understand. This woman who has the same illness as me means well. She wants me to cheer up, to face the illness bravely, but I am really too tired. I could only manage a faint smile for her. It was late at night. The hospital was silent. I reached out to grab my phone on the bedside. There were no new messages on the screen. There were also no missed calls. The battery was running low. I silently used my trembling fingers to send help messages to 3 people. Then she closed her eyes, waiting for their responses. What sound does a stone make when thrown into the sea? The answer is no. Stones always quietly sink to the bottom of the sea, just like the message I sent. Because the stones are too light, they won't affect the waves of the ocean at all. And I am the lightest stone at home without me. Other people's lives will continue as usual. I'm feeling down. My psychological defenses are about to collapse, until Mom came to the hospital. Her wrinkled hand gently stroked my face. She whispered, "Child, you have been wronged." At that moment, I could no longer control myself. Tears suddenly streamed down. Mom's embrace has always been so warm and full of strength. Mom said to me, "Emily, you can't live your life in a muddle. You need to have your own life too." Mother's voice was soft as a feather, but it stirred up huge waves in my heart. Like long-accumulated dark clouds being blown away, the pain in my heart finally exposed to the sunlight, no longer continuing to worsen. I buried my head in my mother's arms. I asked softly, "Mom, if I want to get a divorce, would you and Dad support me?" "That's right, you are our only child." If I completely change myself, no longer gentle and obedient like before, would you and Dad not like me? Of course not. There was so much pity in my mother's eyes. She didn't expect her daughter to have lost herself from the struggles of life. "Your dad and I care for you more than anything. How could we dislike you? You will always be our child. We have your back. Just be yourself without worry." Until now, I truly felt time starting to flow again. That mechanical, routine life was finally coming to an end, in stark contrast to my gradually improving body and mood. The house has become a complete mess without me. The atmosphere has also worsened. My son is sitting at the dining table. He says with a sullen face, "Dad, what is all this you're doing? It would be better to just give me and my sister some money. We could go out and buy takeout." My daughter just came out of her room. She says with a frown, "Dad, can't you hire someone to clean the house? My brother and I go to school every day. We still have to do chores when we get back. We can't even finish our homework. I'm used to a husband who doesn't take charge. He always thinks of himself as the pillar of the family. He believes the children cannot challenge his authority. He says, 'I leave early and come back late every day. I work hard just to support you all. I can cook for you. I've already done my best to take care of you. What more do you want from me? Isn't it just school? I used to study in the countryside. Every day I had to climb mountains. That's enough.'" The daughter covers her ears. She said impatiently, "I don't want to listen anymore. Since Mom was hospitalized, you always talk about studying in the countryside before, but we are not in the countryside now. As a father, isn't it your duty to raise us?" The husband suddenly stands up. He slaps the table. Angrily pointing at his daughter, he says, I have never done housework since I was little. Mom didn't let me and my brother learn these things. We just aren't skilled." The daughter says, "You only give orders at home. Mom listens to you." "We certainly won't." Just when the father and daughter were at a standstill, I pushed the door open and came in. "Mom, you're back," the son and daughter cheerfully called out. They are excited to be able to live a carefree life again. My husband is clearly still angry. He is venting his anger on me. "You arrived just in time. Look at how these 2 good kids treat their father. Is this how you usually teach them? I trusted you so much. I handed everything at home over to you. This is how you treat me. Then why did I marry you?" Faced with a series of questions from my husband, if it were usual, I would have panicked long ago. I might have hurried to make the kids apologize. But today, I feel particularly tired. Watching him and the 2 kids, all I feel is negative emotions. I said to him, "Michael, let's get a divorce. You can take the kids. I have decided not to give everything for this family anymore. I want a divorce. I want a divorce." I said this calmly, but it felt like I had thrown a bomb. It made the house a complete mess. They asked in surprise. No way. What did you say? My husband asked in astonishment. You realize what you're saying? I calmly looked at him and the kids. I nodded again and said, I understand. I want a divorce. I really can't live with you all anymore. I pulled out a suitcase from behind me. I came back today to pack some things. I will discuss the divorce with a lawyer. The obedient me suddenly became rebellious. It left the other three in the house in a panic. They looked at each other, stunned there, not knowing what to do. My husband snapped back to reality. He immediately rushed into the room. He saw that I was indeed packing my luggage. He suddenly became anxious. He walked over quickly. He snatched the clothes from my hands. He said angrily, Emily, what are you doing? Even if you're throwing a tantrum, there should be limits. Are you throwing a tantrum? I looked up at him. His gaze was icy cold. I stepped closer to him. What does it mean to throw a fit, Michael? You need to explain this to me. Ever since the day I married you, everything I do has to follow your arrangements, from what to wear to work, to what to eat every day, even to whether we have a boy or a girl when having children, and every single thing after that. I have to do things your way. I have almost no choices of my own. I understand you, because I resigned. The household income depends entirely on you. That's why I've always gone along with you. But what have I gained? You not only haven't changed, but you've become even more unreasonable in ordering me around. At home, you act like a big shot. As soon as you got back from the hospital, you ignored everything. You left everything to me. You say I haven't taught the kids well. But have you ever thought about how many things I have to take care of every day? What you eat and where? And all the big and small matters at home. It's all on me to worry about. I'm extremely frustrated. This time, I've decided not to tolerate it anymore. I pointed at the siblings standing outside the door. Look at how selfish they are. We've spoiled them too much. So don't be angry about what happened today. And don't blame anyone. This is all caused by us. After saying that, I didn't even want to clean up. I turned to leave. I didn't expect that. My husband pulled me back again. You said you were leaving. Fine. Then you should first pay me back for all the money I've spent over the years. Hearing this, I was taken aback for a moment. Then I couldn't help but laugh out loud. He couldn't help but burst into laughter. He laughed so hard that tears streamed down his face. Michael, are you crazy? Or just foolish? I wiped away the tears from laughing. Spoken with a sarcastic tone, you want me to pay you back. I haven't settled the score with you yet in marriage. As a husband, you have neglected your responsibilities. It has caused me mental and physical harm. I haven't even asked you for compensation yet. Michael, your master's and doctorate degrees were a waste. You don't understand the law at all. Michael was caught off guard by my remark. He didn't react in time. I took the opportunity to pull my hand away. How much I loved him before. Now I hate him just as much. Michael, I once truly loved you, but you have changed. I have changed too. Now I want to find myself again, under everyone's gaze. I left the home I had lived in for over 10 years, walking out of the apartment building. When I breathed in the outside air, I felt the heaviness in my heart slowly disappear. That night, I received a call from Michael again. He pleaded, Emily, no matter if we get divorced or not, just come back for now, even if you hate me or resent me. But the kids still need their mother. All right, since that's the case, from today on, I won't interfere with household matters. I will only do what I need to do. Michael readily agreed. He said I wouldn't have to handle chores anymore. He would hire a nanny to take care of it. After so many years of being married to him, I should know his intentions well. I said, I know Michael too well. He just wants to trick me into coming back. As soon as I step through that door, he will immediately change his attitude. What he said before will be as if it was never said. Since that's the case, then why do you have to go back? My parents advised, mother and father advised, if you feel heartache for the child after the divorce, I can still go see them. There's no need to go back and get hurt again, I said firmly. No, this time I want him to experience what I once went through. I will definitely divorce him, as I expected. As soon as I got home, Michael was just like usual. He started directing me to do this and that. Emily, go help me make a copy of the documents on the table. I lazily looked up at him from the sofa, then continued to mind my own business. I'm busy right now. You can handle your own matters. It's not like your hands are broken. Don't act so pretentious. What can you be busy with? You're just a housewife. Michael scoffed dismissively. I had no mind to deal with him. I let him complain beside me. The two kids saw that everything at home seemed normal. They were about to ask me for help with various things as usual. Unexpectedly, they happened to walk in on this scene with a loud bang. I threw a thick stack of documents right in Michael's face. Then I spoke in a voice restrained by anger. Divorce. That's exactly what I've been hoping for, Michael. Don't think you can threaten me. Otherwise, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau right now. Today happens to be a working day. Time waits for no one. The kids usually see me as very gentle, but suddenly seeing this scene, they were all stunned. Michael was covering his face. There were red marks on his face. He was unconvinced. He stubbornly shouted, "Isn't it the man's role to work outside and the woman's role to manage the home? Others can do it, but you cannot. Emily, where did your former self go?" I spat. I said angrily. I thought futile thinking had disappeared. Turns out it has just taken refuge in your mind. Don't talk to me about the past anymore. I told you before I came back. You will handle your own matters from now on. I won't interfere. If you feel it's not working out, we can get divorced. After I said that, I left home. Everyone urged me. They said I would regret it later. They also said that housewives find it hard to live independently after a divorce. But this time, I didn't pay attention to their opinions. I decided to start anew, to find a job, to rediscover myself. After I drove out, I went straight to my destination. It was a shop I had my eye on. I planned to open a cafe there. The landlord was a straightforward lady. After we came to an agreement, we quickly signed the contract. Before she left, the lady told me, "Sister, I wish you all the best. Your life will definitely get better." At the beginning, life was particularly tough. I left home before dawn every day. I returned home only after dark. The design and decoration of the shop have kept me extremely busy. The pressure at work is overwhelming. Things at home are also not peaceful. We end up arguing every few days. Because I have my own job, the household chores fall on Michael. Michael is also extremely busy with work. It's really too much to handle, so I had to bring his mother over to help. It was the first day my mother-in-law came. She was eager to flaunt her status in front of me. "Emily, I heard from my son that you two have been having conflicts." My mother-in-law spoke in a tone of someone with experience. "Back when my late husband was still around, we often argued too, but now I'm the only one left. I really miss him." Those little eyes kept sizing me up, seeing that I ignored her and was just focused on the documents in my hands. She leaned closer and said to me, "Emily, my Michael is a good man you won't find anywhere else. If you get divorced, you're the one who will suffer. Women after divorce, there are plenty of idle gossip. It's not a good influence on you. Yes, Michael can be a bit unreasonable at times, but he's busy with work. You need to understand him more. Have you finished speaking?" I interrupted my mother-in-law's prepared lengthy speech. "If you want to talk about traditional virtues, I'll go find the property management right now. I'll set up a stage for you in the community. If your son is really that outstanding, he shouldn't lack admirers. Why do you have to fixate on me?" I said sarcastically. "You and your son just think I'm easy to talk to and bully. You want me to work for you for free. But you're right," I said to her with a smile. "When a person dies, it ironically makes people miss them the most. Your Michael probably didn't expect. His own mother would wish for his death. Oh, by the way, I'm definitely getting a divorce. Your son has already signed." Looking at my mother-in-law's surprised expression, I felt particularly pleased inside. I returned to my study with my computer and documents to continue working. Opening a popular cafe is not simple. The decor style needs to be comfortable. The menu should also have its OW and Chinese letter. These are all my recent work priorities. At the beginning, I also felt confused and pained. But gradually, I started to enjoy this busy feeling. I began to live independently, focusing on my own career. As my career flourished, I returned home less and less. As a result, my home became a mess. That day, I finished work and went home. As soon as I opened the door, I saw the mess in the house. I also heard intense arguing. I opened the door, seeing the scene before me. I couldn't help but frown. The living room was a mess. There is half-eaten takeout on the sofa. The floor is covered in dirty clothes and unwashed dishes. The son and daughter are sitting on the sofa while munching on snacks. They are loudly arguing. They are completely oblivious to their surroundings. "Mom, where have you been these past few days? Why haven't you come home?" the son asked with a dissatisfied tone. "Yeah, you don't even pay attention to us anymore." The daughter chimed in with complaints. Her eyes were full of grievance. I glanced at them calmly. I didn't say anything. I just went straight back to my room. Although my movements were slow, they were firm, as if to tell them I am no longer the maid they can boss around. "Emily, look at your children. Grandma tied her apron, hastily walked over to stop me. She frowned, clearly angry. It's fine for children to make a mess while doing chores. The meal I worked hard to prepare. Michael is not picky, but these two kids are very particular. They don't like to eat anything, I said with a smile. Please don't be anxious. These are things I had to face in my past life. After he finished speaking, he gently pushed her hand away and walked out calmly. Not long after, the door was carefully opened a crack. Mom, please don't be angry. My son looked at me without saying a word. He explained somewhat anxiously. I stopped what I was doing and turned around. My tone was calm but a bit cold. It's just that. I'm used to it. Mom, it's not like that. The daughter was about to explain, but I interrupted her. Don't say any more. I understand what you are thinking. I sighed, while continuing to tidy up the kitchen. You always expect someone to clean up your mess. You always expect someone to worry for you, but you never think about it. Others also need to rest. They also need to have their own lives. Your father and I have already completed the divorce procedures. In a few days, I will be moving out. I will come back to see you when I have time. Don't go. The son and daughter rush over to hold her back. Mom, we were wrong. Don't leave us. Okay. I show a hint of reluctance in my eyes, but I quickly say firmly, I know. You are just used to relying on me. You are used to me arranging everything. So you have slowly become lazy and selfish. I think only when we are all apart can we truly learn to be independent and grow. I have already paid the price of half a lifetime for past compromises. I hope you won't repeat my mistakes. My son and daughter looked at me with tears in their eyes, yet they could no longer say anything to hold me back. They actually understood this long ago. They just relied on being children. They've always been unwilling to face it seriously. On moving day, Michael, whom I hadn't seen in a long time, appeared. The once vigorous man, now he looked a bit disheveled. He touched the stubble on his face. He said a bit awkwardly, the time was too tight. I didn't have time to shave. I smiled at him. I didn't say a word. He glanced at me. It seemed he still wanted to make amends. Emily, can't we really start over? I swear this time I will completely change all my issues, Michael. I replied, I know you too well. These words are just your old tricks. You will never truly change. He opened his mouth. It took half a day to say a single word. In the end, he could only say, I'll see you off. In the past, I was always at the mercy of others. Unremarkable. Now everyone wants to keep me and cares about me. This was once what I longed for. But now, I no longer care about these things. Because I have found my own life. The cafe business is thriving. Its unique decor and special menu have attracted a large number of customers. Every day, I receive many positive reviews. Watching my efforts slowly pay off, I feel particularly satisfied. I stand by the cafe window, looking at the people coming and going outside. My heart is filled with emotions. The old me gave up my dreams for the family, but was met with indifference and misunderstanding from my family. Now, I finally figured it out. A woman should not lose herself for the family. Only by being true to oneself can one truly take control of their life. I turned back into the store and continued with my work. I understand. No matter what happens in the future, I will keep striving, because this is the life I truly long for.